Welcome back to my channel. This is Gabin from Design Tribe, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I created this flyer from start to finish in Photoshop. Be sure to watch the video to the end because there are a lot of tricks and tips I'm going to be showing you as we design this flyer together. Let's get straight to it. First thing we want to do is to create our project file, and we would make the specifications to be 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels, and our resolution will remain at 300 pixels. And I'm just going to click on OK. And once that is created, first thing I want to do is to create my background. So I want the background to have this kind of dark colors mixed with these red colors also, and with some couple of white touches on the background. So how did I design this? First thing I did was to go to my solid color adjustment layer, and once that was selected, I'll just modify and I'll pick a color that is like this, a dark purple color like this. And once I've picked that color, the next thing I did was to bring in this flame into my design. Once the flame was dropped in, I increased the size of the flame to fill the whole design. And once that was done, I then changed the blend mode to screen. And what the screen blend mode does is that it removes the dark parts of the image. So all the dark colors were taken off, and now all I needed to do was to add a layer mask and just blend this flame with my background. So I'll increase the size of my brush, make sure it is a soft brush, and I'll just dab on some areas like this just to take out some of the details of the flame, not everything though. And then next thing I did was to create another layer, and now I'm going to pick this orange color from the flame. I think the bright one. I'll pick a bright color from here, brighten it here like that, and I'll just dab somewhere here, and I dab on this other part too. And now before doing that, let me just, I like to create them in different layers. So when I dab here, I'm going to create another layer, and I would create its own brush stroke again, and I'll change it and make this one a little brighter, and I'll just dab here. The reason why I do this on different layers is so that it can be easy for me to modify them at any time t. So I will now add another layer again, and this time I'm going to use a white brush, and increase the size of my brush, and I'll just dab here like that. I think that is a little too much. I think I'll just dab here, and I'll drop the opacity a little. So at this point I'll begin to add more detail to my background. So I'll bring this first image into my design, and I'll just position it here like that. Change my blend mode to soft light, and once that is changed to soft light, I'm going to use my brush tool, and I'll brush out the unwanted areas like this, and allow just the area that I want to see in the design. So I'm going to press Ctrl T, and I'll flip this like that, and I'll position it here, somewhere up here like this, and I'm going to reduce my blend mode. It is my opacity, sorry. I'm going to reduce my opacity a little, and now you see I can now modify this position where I have this light, so I can move it up a little, increase the size. So I think that is okay. And now I'm going to bring in the second image, and it will be this one. Just drag and drop into my design like this, and I'm going to change the blend mode to soft light, and I'll still use my brush tool to paint out the unwanted areas. So I'm going to paint this out with a black color like that, and now I'm going to press Ctrl Command T on my keyboard, and I'll flip this horizontally and I'll position it somewhere up here like that. And now I'll continue to paint out this other part of the design like this. Ctrl T, reduce the size just to fit this area like this. Okay, once that is done, I'm going to drop the opacity to about 57 or 54%, and now I'll move it to this position. Okay, at this point I'm going to bring in the image of the preacher, so I'll just increase the size to something like this, and I position it here. And once that is done, I'm going to add another layer again. Since this part is not as bright as I want it to be, I'm going to use my brush and I'll dab in once more. And you now see the light effect has been created. And at this point, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to use a dark color from here. Now create or dab around this point. The reason I'm doing this is because the logo has to sit somewhere around here, and the logo is white in color, so the logo needs to be on a dark background for clarity. So I'll just drag the logo like that, reduce the size of the logo, and I'm going to position it here like that. So once it's positioned here, I'll reduce the size a little, and now I'm going to proceed to fade out part of this image. I want this down part to blend into the background, so I'm going to use my brush tool, make sure my foreground color is black. I'll go to my layer mask, and I'm going to reduce the size of my brush like this, and I'll just paint on this area like this to blend it with the background. And now, so I'm going to move him up a little, and I'm going to type in the title of the program. So I'm going to select the font I'm going to be using for this, Burbank Big Condensed. And I'll type in Ignite like that, and I'll press Ctrl T on my keyboard, increase the size to something like this. I think that is okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is to add the subtitle below. And I'm going to type in, let me refer what was written there, Night of Destiny activations. I'm just going to copy this and I'll paste it in here like that. I'll select everything, change my font to Montserrat regular, and reduce the font size to about 18 points, and I'll bring it somewhere here. I think it's still big. Let's say 12. 12 is okay. I'll position it here like this. Now I'm going to use my rectangular tool, rectangular shape tool, and I'm going to create a line somewhere here like this. And once that line is created, I'll bring it behind the text like that. I'm going to add a mask to it, and once the mask is added, I'm going to double click here and change the color to an orange color like that, and I'll just reposition it to something like this, and I'll move my text to this area here. I think I want to make this a little thin, so I'll reduce the thickness like that and reposition it here. Now I'm going to use my brush, change my foreground color to black, make sure my mask is selected, reduce the size of my brush like this. Now just dab here, change the color to black, and now dab here like this. Yeah, just dab here like that. So once that is done, you may want to add some colors here. This is a little too dark, so I'm going to pick an orange color from here, and with my soft brush I'm going to increase the size of my brush, and I'll just dab somewhere here like that. Delete that. I want something a little more saturated, so I'll select that, go to my saturation, increase the saturation, just dab like that, and I think that is okay. Now I'm going to move this up a little. I feel like it's a little too big. Control T. Yeah, position it there, and I'll move this up and this too. Hey, okay, I think everything is well positioned, and now I'm going to add a circle here with the name of the minister. So for that I'm going to use my dark purple color, and I'll go to saturation, desaturate, brightness. I think I'll make it a little bright like that, and I'll use my ellipse tool and draw here like this, and position it here, and I think color is a little, I think something like this. Good. Okay, and I'll press Ctrl Command J to create a copy, Ctrl T, and I expand it like this. So I will select the copy that I've expanded. I'll turn off the fill color, and I'll add a white color to the stroke, and now increase this. Think I'll bring it down to let's say 7. Let me modify it again. I think, yeah, 10 is okay, and I'll just reposition it again at the center here. Control T, increase the size a little, and I think this is okay like that. I may want to drop the thickness a little to say, let's say 9 or 8. Okay, at this point I'm going to add a mask. Now use my brush tool, reduce the size of my brush, make sure my foreground color is black, and I'll just dab on some of these areas like this, dab here like that, and Ctrl T. I want to increase the size of the circle a little more like this, and within that circle I'm going to write in the name of the preacher, Reverend Ivan Amatagana, like that. Select everything and just it like that, and I position it at this point. The next thing I want to do now is to modify his colors, the colors on his face, so it blends better with the background. So I'm going to add a curves adjustment layer and make sure the curve adjustment layer is clipped onto this layer, so that every modification I do only affects the layer where this image is found. And now I'm going to go to my red channels and increase my red color like that. Go to my blue channel to reduce blue, and when you reduce blue you're adding yellow. So with that, I think that is okay. And then I'm going to add another layer. I'll add the levels adjustment layer, bring it directly above the curves adjustment layer, and I click on this button to clip it there, and I'll just modify the sliders a little to add a little more detail to the image. I think this is okay, and I may want to add another curves adjustment layer again, and I'll still clip it, and now I'm just going to boost this a little like that, and I'll double click on this layer, go to blend if options. I'll hold alt or option on my keyboard, and I'll just split this slider like this, bring it down. I'll split this other side and bring it up like that. Before, after. Okay, I think I'm happy with what I can see here. I'm now going to proceed to add the other details to the design, which will be the date and the venue of the program. So I'm going to use my rectangular tool, and I'm going to create a shape here like that. Make sure I choose this orange color, and I want that color to be a little bright like that. I'm still going to select it. Yes, I'm still going to add another layer, and I'll draw another rectangle, slightly bigger one like this, and here I'll apply the white color, and I'll select both rectangles and bring them a little up so they are above this color which I painted here. And once that is done, I'm just going to copy the details and paste into my design. So I'll go here, I'll copy this, copy, and I'm just going to click here and I'll paste like that. Ctrl V to paste, select everything. Now go to this and I'll modify the font to extra bold. Ctrl T, reduce the size to this, and I'm going to move it up a little. And for the color of the text, I'm going to pick a dark reddish color from the background like that. Now I'm going to select this other detail, copy, and I'm going to create a paragraph text like this. Now paste everything within, select it, and I'll make it regular. Reduce my font size to about 10. Align everything left like that. I want it to be on 2 lines like this. Control T, reduce the size, and I'll position it here like that. Maybe I add the font size to semi bold. So if you're getting any value from this video, please do well to like this video. Okay, at this point I'm going to type in the details, as in the date and the time of the program. So for this I'm going to type in Friday. So type in Friday, position it here. It's Friday, June 14, and now type in June 14. Select this, make this bold, and type in the time, 9 p.m. 9:00 p.m. Select everything, change the color to white, and I position it here like that. Let me move this to the left a little, and this too. So at this point I'm going to be adding the social media handles, but before I do that, I may want to make sure I have equal space on both sides. So I'll change this to, okay, this is already in percentage. I'm going to put my guide here at 10, and I'll put another guide here at 90, like that. So I can move this a little to this side. This is to ensure that the design is perfectly balanced. Now bring this here like this, and okay, so at this point I'm just going to bring in the social media icons and add the social media details of the program, and then we are going to proceed to refine the design a little more. So I'll just look for my social media icons, drag in Facebook like that, reduce the size down to this, and I'll just move it down like that to this position. Ctrl T, is the size a little more like that, and I'm just going to select the title here, Ctrl C to copy, and just Ctrl V to paste, Ctrl A, change the color to white, and close up the text a little more. I'm going to position it here, and I'm going to reduce the font size to say 9. position it here like this. Now I'm going to bring in YouTube, reduce the size, like that, and I'll select this, Control C. I'll just create a copy of this layer, Control J, and I'll position it here. I'm going to paste in the other detail. So at this point, it's like this part is a little too high. I'm going to bring it down a little to ensure that the design is balanced. So I'm going to select all these layers which I just added now. From here, the date thing right down to this layer. Let's see. I'll just bring them down slightly like that. I think here it's okay. And now I'm going to add one more element to the background, which is this flame. Drag and drop into my design, increase the size of the design like that, and I'll take this right to the back. I think I think here is good. Once I put that, I'm going to change my blending mode to screen, or I think lighten is better. Once I've changed that, I'm going to press Ctrl T, increase the size to something like this. Okay, at this point I'm going to add a mask to it. Use my brush tool, increase the size of the brush, and I'll just dab at some areas here just to take out some of the details from the design like this. Okay, so I think I've brought basically everything into the design. At this point, I'm just going to select everything and do a little more of color grading, color balance for my design. So let me just select everything again and right click, and I'll create a group from the layers like that, duplicate it, and I'll convert this to smart object. And now I'm just going to go into my favorite filter of all, camera raw filter, and I'm going to just expand everything. So at this point I'm just doing basic adjustments. So I'm going to warm up the design a little and add a little contrast, drop my highlights a little, and for my whites I want to add some whites and bring down dark areas a little more. Textures I will increase, and clarity, dehaze the design a little more. We don't want to do too much at this stage. Then I'll go to my sharpening. I'll sharpen the design like that, and I'm going to press OK. And now you see it has added a little, it has enhanced the design a little more, but I feel like the effect is a little too strong on his face. So to solve that problem, I'm going to open this layer again, and I will modify the effects I applied to his face earlier. So this is the layer where I did my color grading, so I'm going to drop this down, and for this I'm also going to drop this a little. I'm going to press Ctrl S, and once that is done saving, I'll open back this layer. You now see that the intensity of the adjustments, it's not too much on his face. And if you are still not really happy, you can still go back to camera raw. Sorry, just double click on camera raw here and you modify the design a little again. So I can just move that, reduce that, reduce this a little, and I think this looks way better than before. My goal is always to make my design look as natural as possible. It's not good to add your effects to a level that the person's image looks a little distorted. So that is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please support me by liking and subscribing to my channel, for I do these videos every single week. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye bye.